Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and there is more bad news for Uber in New York. They are getting sued by disability advocates again for not having enough cars that conform to handicap standards. And basically the issue is, as you probably figured out, a handicapped person will call an Uber, and more often than not, the car, because it's not a professional car, it's just a regular car, will not be equipped to deal with things like wheelchairs and stuff. Service animals, a basic car can deal with. Wheelchairs, not so much. I'm gonna switch hands, but I don't want to turn the camera off. So, I have expressed my opinions about this in the past. I have basically shown my concern. I mean, here's the thing. We are independent contractors. And as such, it's actually that's kind of in Uber's best interest to highlight that, because independent contractors have their own tools. They have their own tools. And sometimes they don't have the right tool for the right job. And thus, they don't accept that job. But the way the Uber platform is set up is that you call a car, anyone will show up. And I think that is becoming a big problem. So in their defense, which is people's disabilities, Uber does need to fix that. Uber needs to have a handicap option where it's like, if you specifically need a handicap car, you can get one. Now, I have heard that from people on the channel the last time I reported on something like this, that Uber actually did offer people to upgrade their cars to be handicap accessible, and they were like, sure, why not? And then they found out that the cost would be on them, not Uber. So they pretty much said, yeah, no thanks. So Uber needs to actually start offering that option to kind of fix this problem. Also, even if they do create this option that is only handicap accessible, like, hey, I need to hail a handicapped ready car that can deal with wheelchairs and call it, chances are it will be more expensive. So will Uber get sued for discriminating them against them for having a disability? I don't know. I think the solution at that point would be to raise the rates across all the platforms, but that's just me. I mean, so I think this handicap thing is getting a little, how should I put this? It's getting a little ridiculous. Again, we are independent contractors. We are using our cars. We are not using professional vehicles. The taxi industry has employees, and they're unionized. So therefore, they have to conform to some standards, some basic standards. Independent contractors can use whatever tools they have available. If my car is not handicap accessible, I'm sorry. That means it's not handicap acceptable. I don't have to do that job. However, in their defense, again, if there was an option to call a car that was specifically made to deal with wheelchairs and crutches and things like that, then I would not be getting that call in the first place. Also, it's interesting that this is in New York, because New York have tons of vehicle transportation services that deal with this very thing. My, of course, opinion is that since those services are available, they should use those services. But of course, Uber is a lot cheaper. Uber is a heck of a lot cheaper than those services. So of course they would want to use Uber. I understand that. I mean, for God's sakes, I've used Uber in the Czech Republic. I used Uber Pop in the Czech Republic, even knowing that they really weren't making money. That's the whole thing with Uber Pop. It is priced to not make money, but it was cheap and I need to get somewhere. I didn't know how, so I used it. I tipped, but, I understand when there is a cheaper option available, you want to use it. But I think there is a little bit of a problem in the sense that, it's cheaper for a reason. They don't have the tools needed to deal with every situation. It's a very basic platform. And in fact, I should mention, when I was getting to the airport to go on this trip, because I was going with a group of people, we had so much luggage and so much people that when we called a Lyft, we got a Lyft Plus. Now that was obviously more expensive than just a regular Lyft, but you know what? Hey, We had a different need than what the average person would usually use that service for. Therefore, we paid more money. Would a handicap option cost more money? Undoubtedly. You need a special car. Would they get sued for that? Probably. Probably. Unfortunately, and this is from someone who is classified as disabled by the Americans with Disability Act, so I think I have a right to say this. I believe, personally, that people with disabilities are asking for way too much. They're asking for way too much, especially in New York City. Again, plenty of places to go and get a car that will drive you to where you need to go that can deal with a wheelchair. If Uber is not an option, if they don't do a very good job, don't use their service. You do not have to use the service. The bottom line is you want to use the service, or when I say you, I mean people with disabilities, because, hey, it's cheaper, but you know what? It's never going to be that cheap for you guys. I'm sorry you got a bad rap in life. I'm sorry you got dealt a bad hand. You can't walk or whatever. It's just, but, well, I'm sorry. Specialty needs require specialty cars. And Uber it's not, you don't pay enough for them to have it. And as independent contractors, we should not have to bear the burden of updating our cars for you. There are plenty of services out there, plenty that will deal with your accommodations. So I think I will report on it whenever Uber gets sued for, because that's kind of what I do. I report on the news. But, honestly, it's just getting so dang boring commenting on this. Like, we need to, this is not, I don't know what they want from Uber. I mean, and I am the first in line to criticize Uber for even things that maybe they don't deserve to get criticized for. I will still criticize them for it. And this time it's like, you know what? I'm going to give you this much. Uber needs to have an option that is handicap only, that when you call a car, they need to probably offer drivers free upgrades on their vehicles to opt into this service. I think that would be good. If Uber did that, then they'd have the cars available and they could have this option. But of course, it's going to cost you guys more money. That's just how it is. It's going to cost you guys more money. And my suggestion, of course, is if you're handicapped, get a service that does accommodate you guys. And as an independent contractor, no, I do not need to update my car just for your wheelchair. I don't. I don't need to. I don't need to shoulder that burden. And hey, at 90 cents a mile, guess what? You're not, really 72 cents a mile after Uber takes their cut. You're not paying me enough to do it. So anyway, that's my thoughts. And of course, this is a very sensitive topic. I acknowledge that. But I would still like to know, what do you guys think? Well, that is bad lighting right there. Yeah, okay. There. Because we can't have these without seeing my ugly face, right? So I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store. If you would like to try driving for Uber on any of the platforms or Lyft, there's a referral link below. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.